guys, this is another episode of me project bashing. I have these fabrics and a person before me was going to make them into a skirt, but that never happened, so I got the pieces, and it'd be very quick and easy to finish them. You have 2 front panels, 2 back panels, and then this piece, which I'm thinking of using as a ruffle. Here I have all the things I want to use in this project. I have my fabric, my waistband. I'm going to use a grow grain ribbon because it matches with these. I'm going to use these zippers. I am going to do a welt pocket on the left front and right front. I think it'll look really cool, and I'm going to use this for the waistband. I have skirt hook and eyes and regular hook and eyes, and I have a whole bag of zippers to use. Some of these are vintage zippers that I've received. Other zippers I've gotten from Joann's. So here we go.
So I inherited this project from my place of work when I was in college, costume shop, and it was left behind by a senior student. And she graduated and she never finished the project, and the costume shop manager was like, well, what are we going to do with this? It's either recycle it or throw it away. So I said, well, I'll take these pieces, I'll make a skirt out of it. So I finally got around to doing that, and here's the video of me making that skirt. Hope you guys enjoy, and I had a lot of fun making it. So what you're watching me doing right now is marking the spots for the welt pocket. So I'm making sure they match on both sides of the front panels, and they're square with the grain. And now I'm cutting out the facing for each of the pocket flaps. And I'm going to use a contrasting red because that will tie in the ruffle, which has pinks and reds and blues in it. And I don't have any more of the, well, I didn't want to use the extra corduroy for a couple of reasons. One is that it wasn't wide enough because it was cut up from the back panels. And 2, because if you're doing a welt pocket, in my opinion, you want it to be visible. So I figured the contrasting red would look nicest. So right now I'm ironing on the interfacing, to the welt pocket to give it that extra added structure. And I'm using a press cloth so that the iron doesn't damage the polyester and make sure it doesn't give it that extra shine. And you can see I had some trouble ironing the corduroy because I don't have a felt board to iron on, so the indentations from my ironing board showed up on my fabric, but that wore away eventually. So right now I'm picking out ribbon to tie the top of the pocket bags to the waistband so that all of the weight in the pockets are supported by the waistband instead of just being supported by the tiny rectangle opening that has the pocket. And now I'm picking out a zipper and sewing that in, and sewing the center front seam. And sewing the side seams and the back seam. Now when you're sewing panels that are old, you don't want to prioritize having the bottom hem line up, because you don't know how far each of those panels have stretched over time. So you just want to make sure the top is lined up, and then at the end of your project, when you're doing the hem, you just cut the extra off and you level the hem that way. Because if you don't do it that way, you'll get a whole bunch of gathers and bumps in the seam, and you can't iron those out. And right now I'm just changing out my normal foot into a zipper foot because I'm going to do the zipper next. And I'll transfer you over to the day of Jenny.
So I actually went to fashion school, or not necessarily fashion school, but I went to college and I studied fashion design. So my professors showed me or taught me how you put one of these centered zippers in. Is you actually can quite literally use tape to hold it in place. Imagine that world solved by tape. I imagine you can also baste it in place, which would probably be the preferred method. But if this works, and I know it does because I've used it before, then why waste the effort basting? And you can sew right through the tape, and that way you don't have to worry about your stitches, your basting stitches being caught in the thread and then having difficulty pulling them out. Perforated, so it'll just pop right off. So I'm really sorry guys, I had malfunction after malfunction on this project, and right now I'm sitting at basically the final skirt. I could wear this and it wouldn't fall apart, but I gotta do a couple more things. The first thing I would do, is that instead of using like a straight ribbon or rope, or like a rope and ribbon, I would use bias tape. And because this doesn't have any give. See, this skirt flares out, so when I tried sewing it down, it just made it kind of weird at the top, because like it made the whole top go like this instead of straight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a top stitch all along the top so that it doesn't show. Another thing I'm gonna do is that my welts keep folding under, so I'm gonna do another top stitch along the top of this, along the top of this, and I actually, so I guess you missed this part because I couldn't record it, but there was a whole bunch of extra fabric here. So at first I tried to pleat it, knife pleat it, but it looked poofy and ugly, and I'm already bigger and I didn't want to attract attention to my tushy, so I cut it out. So now I have all of this fabric right here. It's like, this is a lot of fabric. And another thing that's kind of cool about this corduroy is that, or this project I should say, is that the person who cut the panels before me cut them with a nap in the wrong direction. So on the right side of the skirt, it's going in one direction, and on the other side of the skirt, it's going in the other direction. So it looks like I have two different shades of green. So it's kind of weird, but you know, it's a story. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this, because I don't want this to seem Christmassy. It doesn't seem Christmassy to me because I didn't make it with Christmas in mind. But the other piece of fabric that came with this project is this absolutely gorgeous and stunning piece of corduroy. I think it's amazing. But the thing is, I would never use it. Like, I wouldn't make a vest out of it, and I don't want to cut into it because it's so pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut strips off of the bottom. I'm going to cut this into strips, like here. And I'm going to attach it to the bottom of the skirt. So, yep. So I'm going to cut it right here. So there are a couple ways you can do gather stitches. You can either do 2 rows of parallel stitches, or you can do a zigzag stitch over top of a cord. And I think I'm gonna do the zigzag stitch because I have. Let me go show you. Switch your scraps. I purchased this ribbon, and I think that'll work well because the color matches. I mean, generally you take the ribbon out when you're done, but I could leave it in as a nice bow in the front, and I like that idea a lot. So I'm going to do a zigzag stitch over this cord. That's what I'm gonna do.